Okay, I'll just do a quick one here while the heater's turned off. It's just freezing cold out here. So we took the old rig here out on a shakedown run. I guess not really shakedown run, kind of a Hail Mary, I guess. Really, just kind of seeing what it would do. Went out to Tuya, you know where that is in Washington. Didn't do a lot of the more extreme stuff, but I made it a point to go down some stuff that I normally wouldn't have ever gone down. Limit straps held. That bolt looks like it might be a little bent, but that might just be from me putting it in there. These bunch of cords I put on there to keep the limit straps from rubbing on tires, those held up. The bump stops definitely got to work out. So we're going to have to come in here and probably put in something different up here. You can kind of see it's shifted over a little bit because everything kind of settled a little bit finally. We didn't have any rubbage anywhere, really. The steering held up. We did take a little bit of damage on some of these because I did go through some rocks. A little scrapey here, not a huge deal. Everything up here pretty much stayed in place, but man, this thing does make some weird noises sometimes, which I guess if you're used to it, it's probably fine. The only thing I did notice that I had anticipated was the floor self-clearanced itself a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is loosen these bolts up and turn this a little bit so it's not touching there. My zip tie on the fuel line, that held. Totally forgot about that before I planned on attaching that better, but didn't. And I got some water leaking from somewhere. See, going back, no damage. Well, a couple kisses, but no major damage anywhere here. Got a couple boo-boos here, and I decided to pull the plug out and see what the fluid looked like, because we have a little bit of a, well, you know what that looks like. I don't have to tell you what that looks like. But we went through some pretty deep water, and by we, I mean me. Yeah, so a couple little kissy-poos here. No damage on the rails. No damage on these, which I'm surprised. I forgot to flip those around. My exhaust hanger zip tie broke, so I'll have to address that. No damage on the muffler. I don't know if this was in the last video, but I just cut that resonator out, stuck that muffler in there, and used the hanger that was in the back and just kind of moved it. So yeah, no boo-boos. Got a couple kissy-poos here and here. That's about it. And we did make some contact here. And this is kind of where the arms live now. They want to be like this. Brake line survived, but we're still going to address that. Did some fishing, apparently. The vent, I don't have a vent on this. I actually welded the hole shut, so no worries about getting water in there. Brakes, I did put calipers on it. Springs, this one moved just a little bit, but not too bad. This one stayed basically where I wanted it to be. One thing I did notice was that now that the long arms are in there, it does take the impacts a lot better, and it sends it right up into the spring. So I think maybe what I'm going to do is take those springs that I had here in the back, the V8 front springs. I'll probably stick them in the front and get rid of the spacers just so I can have a little bit more spring rate on that, because it bottoms out all the time now. It's not a huge deal. The bumps in the back worked out perfectly, and the shock mounts, you kind of see that they kind of self-aligned themselves where they want to be, I guess, so it didn't break off, so that's good. I think I might come in here and gusset this now that it knows where it wants to be. This bolt kind of, well, it's not loose, but it's, you know, needs to be looked at. Yeah. So all in all, it is a absolute day and night, black and white, absolute total difference. It's a completely different vehicle. I could go, you know, straight through rock piles. Before with the arms, you know, the short arms, their arms are basically pointed down, so you go into rock, and it was like, bam! But this, it just absorbs it like it's nothing. I can't even describe how amazing this is compared to the short arms. If I was to go back and give anybody advice, I would say just ditch, you know, save the money, man, and do it once. Do not waste your time with short arms. It's such a pain in the ass. Once you get all this stuff lined up, it goes down the road straight. You know, it doesn't wander or drift. I mean, I only got it up to about 40 on the road because it's a short trip. I took a time lapse. Forgot the camera was on for 3 hours, and it ended up being like 10 seconds of video, but it's useless because it's all super fast. But I might just post that anyway for gigs and shittles. So the other thing I'm going to do in here is put a piece of angle here, and then another piece of angle here, so I can tie the truss into the bolt holes, give it a little bit more rigidity there. And the drive shaft held out. Should have put some paint on that, but didn't. The clearancing, had to do some clearancing here before I went out. That worked out perfectly. I might pull the shaft out here and figure out what's going on there. I did go through some water, pretty deep water actually, and what I found is that when this is completely submerged in water, as you'd expect, the exhaust comes up in here, and it actually gurgled through this hole here, and it was like a little geyser shooting up in the back seat. So that was pretty cool. The only other thing is the horn siren thing up there. I think it's full of water because it doesn't make noise anymore. Well, it does, but it's very quiet. There were some... Ooh, well, I have to... something about that. There were some Mexicans out there picking brush, and so I used the siren feature on the horn and scared the shit out of them, and they went running into the woods. So that's pretty fun. Yeah, that's it. I think this is going to be the end. I went through and looked back through all the footage, and it's something like 26 minutes, so apologies for that. I think what we're going to do, and by we me, is I'm going to break this up into like 4 8-minute sections, and then all the Liberty stuff from pulling the axles, I'll just make that into a separate video as like a supplement, because there's nothing really useful in there. Actually, that pipe looks like it might be a little bent. Yeah, so I think the only other thing I forgot to mention during this whole thing was the spring perches up there. What I did was I took some had some stuff out of the scrap pile here from the Dana 44 that came out of the Ram Charger, and those are the U-bolt plates that go on the top. I cleaned them up, flipped them around, and welded them in there into the original gusseting. So that's all good. I think there's not really much else to talk about here. I got some plans to get some actual footage. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, little boo-boo there. Yeah. So I got some more mounts, and I think next time I go out, I'm going to stick a camera on my rig facing back or forward, whichever way, and then put some cameras on the other rig so we can get some videos of it. But yeah, a little bit of rubbish there, probably from the straps. But I would say that recommendation: ditch the short arms if you want to wheel it. If you want to drive on the street, either way. This is a absolute day and night, black and white, different. Oh, the motor mount I noticed when I was doing my looking. See that hockey puck in there? I noticed the motor mount was broken like 20 minutes before I got on the trailer, so I cut up a hockey puck and stuck it in there. So yeah, day and night difference. Screw short arms. You're wasting your time. Go to long arms. Save the money. Do it once.